Hey Addicts, welcome back. This is Love is War episode 2, and wow,
Confession, I think, was the episode. Was the name of the episode something like
I
that?
believe you're right, and we technically got that. It's this is kind of a spoiler talk.
No spoilers,
but,
stuff happens.
Yeah, but it's kind of more the same of like the first episode. We get a little different.
3
scenarios.
skits, the same theme format.
Yeah, and no new characters. Just I don't even think. Yeah, well, I guess technically
We saw
got
like some in the background for a second. Like one of the characters in the intro is like her. It's not a maid, but like personal assistant of the girl, which we might have seen in the first episode when she's like undressing her collar or whatever.
Yeah, and then like there's this one guy. I don't really know if he's important, but he came to the president and then like kind of introduced another girl to so but they don't really seem
hilarious moments. I think that was probably my favorite skit because there's 3. There's one I don't remember what the first one is at the moment. There's one where they have to choose, if they're going on vacation in the summer.
Yeah.
There's one with the cell phone, and then the third one is the dating one, confession one.
And all those are pretty great. I don't think I think all of them here there wasn't a clear winner for any of them.
No,
kind of like how it was in the first one. I think in the first one I think there was one person that won on one time. That was it. But the secretary is always great. She's always in the mix of things. There's like one instance specifically that I just laughed at because like they're going back and forth and it's panning between the president and the vice president, and like the secretary's like just going back and forth like, what am I gonna do?
And we got to see her secret identity. She's
a little weird. Yeah,
she's a little scary.
She's like, why don't we go to this like possessed mountain and see demons? But yeah, just more of the same. It's a really fun show so far. I'm liking it a lot. I'm still interested to see like, because we do know there is some characters. I think I don't think I made it the thumbnail, but there was one picture I was looking for when trying to make the thumbnail, and there was like at least I think 2 or 3 other characters that we hadn't even seen in the show yet, and I think we got a glimpse of them in the opening as well. But I'm looking forward to seeing how they're going to play into things. If they're going to be more of like the secretary type role, where it's just kind of like oblivious and just messing up like their interactions, or if they're going to add some like dynamics.
Yeah, it'll be interesting if I think there's 2 more approaches. You can do the Masame-kun's Revenge, where you have like separate love interests that are like going to push the story forward, or it can be like an alliance structure and you're like these are our generals to help like with the strategy of making them confess.
I think one thing I found interesting in this episode is the president, like, he's in a scenario where, like, because of, like, the confession aspect, like, he starts to tell, like, the truth of how he really feels, and then, like, he kind of embellishes a little bit because he realizes she's eavesdropping on him, and so, but just, like, what he said, I'm kind of, like, interested to see, like, where they're going to go with that, because it kind of seems like he's still in, like, that, he doesn't, like, madly love her, but like he does have an obsession, but I think it's more of like a crush level. It's not like he's like, oh, this is like the love of my life. He's just like, yeah, she's pretty cool.
She's got her problems, but I like her problems.
Yeah,
it's it's kind of like he admits that she does things that annoys him, but he hasn't got to like the level where he's like, yeah, I accept. Like the real answer to that would probably be like, but I accept all the things. I like her anyway.
Yeah,
but
I like her quirks.
But instead, he does the immature kind of like obfuscating thing. I'm just being like, oh no, she's actually really cool.
Yeah.
But so
she's the ideal woman.
So we still got some progression here to go. We'll see.
Yeah, and on her side, it kind of feels a little bit of the same way, where she's kind of like,
we haven't really got that much because we, for the most part, in the first 2 episodes, obviously it'll probably change, but I would say probably 70% of the time we're in his head, like figuring out what he's thinking.
Yeah,
and only 30% of the time we figure out what she's thinking.
Well, it's more like he's more of like I want to say like the opener of like any of the conflicts or like the battles that they have.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, she's a schemer, but
yeah. Just like the whole thing where it's like the trip. She's like, I have a notebook of every single aspect that could go right if we choose this one trip.
It'll be interesting to see if they do a beach episode or not.
I would actually, I don't know. I guess because it's possible because they said like it's like 3 months off or something like that, and like they skipped like a year in the first episode. So I mean, it's possible. The real thing that we were kind of, I think you were the one that mentioned it first, was the fact that it's a student council, and we see the secretary, president, vice president, but like it's a little odd that they don't have like a treasurer and like some other aspects, and so I want to know if like these new characters are going to be part of the student council, and if so, like why haven't we seen them yet?
Yeah, usually in these kind of shows they'll have like the student council, and they'll have like we don't have this in the
Maybe
United
they're busy
States.
battling or in a game of gambling.
Yeah, exactly. We don't have this in like the Western world, but like sometimes they'll have like sports project person who's like in charge of all the sports clubs, and it's like, but it's different from the student council. So maybe we'll get like one of those people or something.
I kind of wondered because since like president, vice president, they like to have their, I guess, quote unquote personal secretary. It's like, I guess it would make sense they have their own office, and then like maybe like the other parts of the student council have like their own place. But I don't know. It seems like they change it for like every show that like evolves around a student council. So guess,
I mean, it probably changes from region to region or whatever.
What would be great is if like these are like the, like, I don't know, I'm speculating here because I don't know anything, but I'm just like what if they're like the only people on the council, and then they actually got somebody else to like fill the spot of like one of the other ones, and then they like come in and like cause conflict.
Yeah, we'll see. That could be one. I mean, I think again, there's two routes they can go. They can go the romantic, interest pushes them forward because she's like, or she or he is inflicting on their relationship or whatever. But we'll see. I mean, I think jealousy is always fun in a romantic comedy as long as it's not like too out there,
Yeah, I think just going forward, I mean, I will like this show if it just keeps this concept throughout like 12 episodes or something, but I do think in order to keep it refreshing, at least at some point, this might get stale if they don't decide to change the formula. But for right now, I'm really liking what they're doing so far in these first 2 episodes, and I'll be fine seeing more of that, but I do hope we see something escalate.
The skit stuff is nice. I mean, I think maybe 1 or 2 episodes you don't have 3 skits and you focus on one thing, but so far, I haven't gotten tired with the comedy and everything, and I still like the 3 characters that I liked in the first episode. So it was a good second episode.
And I will re-listen to that opening every time.
Yeah, every time. It's a good animations.
Yep. Well, any last things you want to say?
No, Secretary had some great moments this episode. The confession scene was pretty great, and I did love at the end that they ended up being a couple, even though there was like mixed signals as if she really liked him or not.
I will say one thing I did like in closing. I like how the president, like, even though he is a genius and he is right in like some of his observations, he's still like, they still write him as like a teenage boy. Like, he's like knows nothing. And so like the advice he gives is just like, that's like relatable and that's like awful. Like, what are you doing? So, but yeah, it's a great aspect. So I liked seeing that but I guess that'll conclude for this episode. Like I said, we're testing this out. We'll see how far it goes. If there's not much substance, we may drop it, but we'll continue to watch it regardless. So you guys should check it out.
Check it out. Love is war.
Love is war. And war never changes. See you guys.
Later.